Hey there, guys. I'm Stephy Steph, and this is Bobby, and we are on an episode of Motorcycle Diaries.
Motorcycle Diaries. What are you riding right now, Steffi?
I don't know, some sore buns. That's what I'm riding.
You're riding your Ducati. I'm on BMW GS, our kind of big adventure bike. It is Dallas. We got some beautiful temperatures, but a little bit of rain every now and then. Listen, I want to talk about something. I was going to say fun, but I'm not sure it's fun.
Man, the smells are amazing down here.
We are in Deep Element, Dallas. One of the
amazing things,
before we get into our talk, that one of the coolest things about a motorcycle is oh my gosh, that does look awesome. You get to smell the smells. Some of the smells are great. Some are bad. We're going through like barbecue territory right now. Oh my gosh, it makes me so want barbecue. Anyways, I want to talk about, what did I say we were going to talk about? I keep forgetting. Uncomfortability. What makes you uncomfortable? Steph Gander.
Probably for me, I am still uncomfortable with confrontation, but I can be a lot more specific now. I'm uncomfortable when it comes to almost like just like emotional confrontation, where I don't feel worthy or I don't feel confident in what I'm going to discuss with the other person, or I am just so wrapped up in getting it wrong. And I'm more of an avoidant person when it comes to that.
Now, what I would say, Steph, I think a lot of people would say exactly what you said. I think most people dread confrontation.
But why? Why do we have to dread it? And why are we not teaching people better skill sets and tools to?
You know, you've got a friend that we've talked about that has no filter. She confronts everybody on every single topic that I think is out there. Watch right, car coming out. So there's probably, a pendulum swing of never saying anything, going to the extreme of, taking everything to heart and being bothered by absolutely everything will probably not serve you well. I like kind of the sense of figuring out when the juice is worth the squeeze, when do you need to say something. Is there anything you're doing to help you on that journey?
Yeah, I guess just continuing to be curious and keep turning over rocks kind of thing, figuring out different ways to look at the same issue.
I love that saying, turning over rocks. Just you trying things out, see how it works.
Yeah, because it's not, I feel like, especially with something like, I hate confrontation or I'm not great at confrontation, when people hear that, there's two main different groups. One group writes you off as they're like, well, you're just not cut out for leadership.
Yeah.
So that's okay. And that's ridiculous.
Ooh, why? Why? No. No, I agree with them. I'm on that side. If you can't confront people appropriately when it's needed, you better sit down.
Well, I don't think you believe that. And
I'm trying to get a rise out of you a little bit.
Right. I think leadership is a learned skill set, and it's honed
takes
over
time.
Years and years and years.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that you can't have phenomenal young leaders, though.
Yeah. Do you care what I would say as far as what makes me uncomfortable?
No.
You're terrible.
Not really. No,
riding motorcycles actually was in part of me just saying, I need to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's goofy riding motorcycles.
I think so. I think just a little bit. Makes sense.
Really? You're yawning? Wow.
No.
Need a coffee?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, confrontation is super tough, and it's different levels of challenge depending on who you're around. And it really made me take a hard look at myself as far as just realizing, man, I do not have the confidence that I thought I did when it comes to really interacting, because I've had a lot of negative interactions when I'm confronting people.
Well, and what I would say, Yes. And if you did you learn from those?
Well, I think you have to be very careful what you take away from each learning opportunity or failure. Because you might take away the wrong lesson. And one of the things I like talking about is when you have two messy people having a confrontation, you're probably going to get a pretty messy outcome.
Are you talking about us? Is that what you're inferring?
No. You need to be careful of the lesson that you glean from it.
Agree. And, when I did my MBA, just remember, my motorcycle's wider than your motorcycle.
And I'll wait for you if you can't.
All right, I think I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have the boxes on. I forgot about that. The thing about motorcycles, they're narrow and you could do stuff. And Steph is really good at navigating a path, especially in downtown Dallas. Watch these pedestrians on the right.
Yeah, I see them.
This one dude's got red Adidas tracksuit. I wish I was cool enough to pull off a red Adidas tracksuit. Lights changing up. Let's figure out going. During my MBA, we spent a lot of time on leadership styles, communication, and self-awareness. And if you're not kind of self-aware on the impact you're having on others around you, you're not going to be set up for success.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, are you going to be that politician we've talked about where you're more astute at how you affect others and therefore, you're going to be much better at controlling responses and the actions of people?
Yeah.
But then you got to trust that the person who has those social skills also has the right leadership qualities to put the right people in the right positions. And that's the trick, because I think knowing which people belong where is a different leadership skill set going left here.
Yeah.
Than just simply, and it's not a simple skill, but it's an effective one, versus someone that is very astute at the art of social dynamics. And
does the younger generation care too much about things? Oh, geez, watch that guy.
Right.
That's a nice color of car. But
that's such a broad statement. I would have to have it be more clearly defined. I think every generation has things they care about. They've got generational sacred cows.
Okay, we're going to lose a lane up here, I think. Yes, and I think that's the blessing and the curse of generational change.
Yeah, I think it necessitates this.
You're really good at driving around downtown Dallas.
Thanks.
I get confused. Every time I think, Steph, you're going the wrong direction. I'm like, oh wait, no, this is the right direction.
That's funny. You're really good at driving around downtown Dallas.
One thing I have learned is, and I haven't learned it real well, is to shut my mouth every now and then and give it a moment of time. And when you think you're so darn sure about something, and you pause, and then you're like, oh, I was not correct on that. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
So what else makes you uncomfortable?
Oh, my main thing is just kind of...
Because I would say most people look at you, you're a motorcycle driving, I don't know why this guy's flashing his lights up there ahead of us. You ride motorcycles, you play hockey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would look at you and think there's not many things that make Stephanie R. Ganner uncomfortable.
Yeah. There definitely are. And like I said, those diplomacy, nuanced situations are what I'm really turning a keen eye to, because it's not easy.
And I think most people don't have a sense of what's going on with other people. You see something. I talk about this a lot. You're such a twit. I'm getting all kinds of hand signals right now. It's funny. Okay, you go first.
Left turn, half turn.
All right, watch. Okay, signals are great, but I digress. You keep me in suspense sometimes.
Remember that whole part about sometimes you just gotta shut your mouth and follow?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of those
Well,
times.
you know, I'm a work in progress. My gosh, what the heck's going on up here? Dang. Motorcycles are always an adventure. What did you say was making you uncomfortable?
Oh, I just said when it comes to kind of, it's not that being diplomatic makes me uncomfortable. What makes me uncomfortable is how sometimes terrible I am at it.
Is it a melody?
Well, it's a certain set of skills that I've just never had to acquire in order to be successful in life. And you get to a point in life, I think, where you start to look beyond where you're at and you're like, man, I'm going to have to create this toolbox because what I've got right now, it's not going to get it done.
Yeah. It makes me think of that book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. That was a super tough read.
Right. And the uncomfortability is in that you realize how wanting you are. And
what do you mean?
Realize, you know, you go from a have to a have-not. Just based on a different set of criteria that you're defining for yourself.
Would you agree with this statement? If you don't change, the rest of the world's going to change around you and you'll get left behind?
Yeah,
is that a fair statement?
You have a group of people that want to stay there with you. I don't think you'll be, depending on the severity of the change either way, because change makers are alone too.
Yeah.
It depends on when and what you're changing. We talked about, I know with Dr. Brett Kessler, we talked about also, what is it? Not ditch digging, but what, it was having like a trench or something, or staying in a rut and decorating that rut and making it really pretty. You have neighbors probably, people that want you to stay there.
Instead of getting out of the rut.
Yeah, and so whether you don't change or whether you change tremendously, you can definitely find that you're isolated at times until you find that niche, and that's where having that intrinsic motivation really comes into play, and it's one of the necessary skill sets I think you need to be an innovator and to be a change maker.
Yeah. Well, here's going to be the push as we close off. Get out of the rut. Or if you're happy in your rut, decorate it, but otherwise get out of your rut, make some things happen, be self-aware, work on your lyric. Thank you guys for joining us on, here we go. We're actually going to give a little bit of recording of this. Maybe open your helmet if it's not open, Steffi. Steffi has a fancy motorcycle exhaust. We're in a parking garage right now that really lets that sweet sound. That's a nice Ducati. How do you termi? Is it Termigoni?
It's a Termignoni.
No, you're fancy right there. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. Hope you like Motorcycle Diaries. Get out there and get it. Doesn't have to be a motorcycle. If you're in a rut, I'm gonna push you to get out of that rut. Get out there and live.
That or decorate it.
That or decorate it. But we push you to live a life best lived. All right, guys. Later.